This is the story of the one. As a custodial supervisor at a high school, he knows that during cold and flu season, germs spread fast. It's why he partners with Grainger to stay fully stocked on the products and supplies he needs, from tissues to disinfectants to floor scrubbers. All so that he can help students, staff, and teachers stay healthy and focused. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Have you ever wanted to dive deeper into the horror movies you love? Beyond the Blood is a horror podcast for fans who want more than just surface-level screams. We do deep dives into the movies that shaped us, digging into director commentaries, behind-the-scenes stories, deleted scenes, and the special features that most people skip. Each episode is a love letter to the genre. We break down how these films were made, the creative risks that paid off or didn't, and the lasting impact they've had on the genre as a whole. From 70s slashers to modern nightmares, we celebrate the craft, chaos, and characters that keep us coming back. If you're the kind of fan who rewatches movies with the commentary on, or you simply grew up in the video store horror aisle, the Beyond the Blood podcast was made for you. New episodes every single week. Subscribe, let's dig deep. Welcome to the Beyond the Blood podcast.
Are you a film fan who loves the ultimate home video experience? Look no further than The Disconnected. Your host, Ryan Verrill, is your go-to source for the latest and most accurate information on home video releases, exclusive interviews with industry insiders and filmmakers, and has established a thriving community where every film and physical media enthusiast feels welcome. From hidden gems to blockbuster hits, The Disconnected brings you insider knowledge and a welcoming space to share your love of cinema. Watch every Thursday night at 9:30 Eastern, 6:30 Pacific for the live announcements show, and follow The Disconnected on social media to stay updated. Subscribe to The Disconnected on YouTube or on the podcast provider of your choice, and dive into a world where every movie night is an adventure.
Welcome to the Shabby Detective, yet another Columbo podcast. I'm your host, Mike White. Joining me, of course, is Mr. Chris Dashew.
You can call me a toreador.
Oh boy, I have a feeling there's going to be a lot of bad Mexican accents on this episode.
I didn't even use the correct term. I believe I used the Spanish term for matador as opposed to, I guess toreador, yeah.
They've got all kinds of adors out there. I remember Ferdinand smelling the flowers and all those guys who were out there trying to say, come on, let's go. I want to kill you. I want to murder you, bull.
They had a parade into the bull ring. First came the banderilleros, with long, sharp pins with ribbons on them to stick in the bull and make him mad. Next came the picadores, who rode skinny horses, and they had long spears to stick in the bull and make him madder. Then came the matador, the proudest of all. He thought he was very handsome and bowed to the ladies. He had a red cape and a sword and was supposed to stick the bull last of all.
The idea of sitting and watching a human being kill a bull for entertainment, boy, that's a lot. Can we get that out of the way here and just say that that's a lot?
It is a lot, but I'm glad that this is all faked, that we're not going to see any real deaths. And the only people that do get killed are people.
By other people.
People who kill people.
Killing you with bulls, apparently.
Yeah, it's a murder weapon. On this episode, we're talking about A Matter of Honor. We are still in the 5th season of Columbo. This is the 4th episode, directed by Ted Post, the ever solid Ted Post. I always enjoy the stuff that he directs. His movies were really good as well. But yeah, this is TV, and it is Columbo. This episode came out February 1st, 1976. It is a blissful 70 minutes long. Tight this episode is. And it was written by Brad Radnitz. And I don't think it was based on a story by anybody. I think it was just all him. And yeah, it is Ricardo Montalbán as a bullfighter who's lost his nerve. And we don't start with a murder. We start with a kind of a fantasy / dream sequence and showing what has happened with A. Martinez, who is one of my favorite actors, and I get to see him in a hospital bed. We start off with that and move into the whole idea of the Ricardo Montalbán player from, gosh, what movie is this that he's watching himself? This is like The Forgotten Lady, but he's not losing his mind. He's watching, Fiesta, 1947. So we get to see Ricardo Montalbán watching a younger Ricardo Montalbán from a movie, but it is supposed to be footage of him in the ring murdering this bull. So we get to see stock footage of the bull from all those years ago.
Okay. So at the top here, a couple things. I enjoyed this episode a bit, but I will say what the conceit ends up being in the end, I was not a fan of what the ending ends up being. And this is the reason why I was like, oh my God, really? It felt a little hinky. It's fine. They're setting the stage for it right here, which is why I want to mention my feelings on it, because this is the setting of the stage for that twist to go in that direction.
Well, how would you describe this?
I would just... The twist?
Yeah, the twist and the whole reason for the murder.
The twist is he kills the other guy because the other guy saw that he's lost his nerve.
Yeah.
The other guy saw that he is no longer able to murder a bull anymore. So that's why I don't understand why it's such a big deal that someone else sees that he can't, because someone else sees that he in fact can't.
Well, somebody saw that he was afraid.
But why is anyone surprised that he's afraid, given what happened to him? That's what I don't understand. He even talks openly about it. Like, it's weird because it's almost like the episode lets you know what the reasoning is going to be, but it doesn't get on board with the reasoning at all. Because I don't know, like Ricardo Montalbán's character talks about that bull that hurt him pretty openly. It's not like a secret. It's almost like it would be better off if it was a secret, if it's going to be such a big deal that the Hector Rangel character sees that he is no longer able to do it anymore. Does that make sense?
Yes and no. For me, it's that he was hurt in the ring years ago, yet he was fighting. He was not afraid at that point. And I think now he is afraid. And he cannot let anybody know that he's too afraid to fight a bull again. And he has to act like a macho dickhead through this, which is perfect for playing into this kind of culture of machismo, where we have to be so super manly and we have to protect our reputation.
Sure. And again, like, I don't disagree with any of that either. For me, I don't know, like...
What's a lot to base a whole episode on a person losing their nerve, and that's the reason why they would murder someone else, is to keep them from knowing or keep them from spreading the stories of what a coward I am.
If that were to be a thing. It's an assumption.
Yeah, exactly. It's one of his longest term confidants that he ends up murdering, the father of the boy who was in the ring.
Right.
And I guess when he was in the ring with the boy, he froze then and couldn't help him out. And so his father had to bail him out. So I think that and then his friend is basically leaving. He's just, that's it. I'm done with this stuff. And yeah, there needs to be a little bit more as far as, are you leaving because you're upset with me or upset with this bull or whatever happening here?
Yeah, stuff is left on the floor in this episode. This is a 70-minute episode that almost needs more time or a finer tooth comb, like over the more sharp kind of edges of the episode. Because like I don't know, the stuff with Pedro Armendariz Jr. is great. He's great, obviously. But I feel like the conceit in this episode of why Columbo is in Mexico is so bizarre. And then again, we have the Columbo's wife is not here, but she's here conceit again. And then they make reference to the episode where this happened the first time. I enjoyed this episode for the performances. I don't dislike this episode. I just don't think that this episode is very well put together. I feel like the conceit of this episode is a little less interesting than I think it thinks it is. And I'm glad that they put it in something like the world of the matadors, because man, could you imagine how boring this episode would be if it was set in like the world of the military? Because this would be like what the other direction you would go if it was in the States.
Mm-hmm.
Be something like military or military adjacent. And then we just have a episode of this show that we've seen before too, because we've seen an episode, at least one, right? More than one.
The first McGowan one we saw with the
and then there was one before that where it was the guy with the uniform and the boxes and the gun in the
Eddie
display
Albert.
cases. So I'm glad that it was something different, but Columbo also is really underwritten in this episode compared to the last two that we saw.
I agree. I would have liked this one to be a little bit longer, and I would have liked there have been more back and forth between him and Ricardo Montalbán, because Montalbán is just fucking awesome. I love that guy. I was a big fan of Fantasy Island when I was a kid, even though some of those episodes actually scared me. I think when Mr. Rourke went against the devil, that was pretty creepy. But then, of course, Wrath of Khan. He is just so fucking good in Wrath of Khan.
Well, and that is the thing about this episode is Ricardo Montalbán is so good it carries any of the, like, his contempt with Columbo and his hatred for Columbo is palpable. He is not having any of it with Columbo at all whatsoever. And I really like that. I like the way he treats Columbo. I don't like the way he treats Columbo, obviously, because I like Columbo as a character, but I like that they give a villain in the show the wherewithal to really hate that Columbo's around, because so many of the villains are just like, of course, come look, I'm so full of shit and full of myself. And Montalbán does that a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
But it's more about him just being frustrated and annoyed at Columbo most of the time, because, again, he thinks that he has gotten away with it outright. And I would say in a lot of ways, if not for the fact that Columbo is there, he would have gotten away with it. This is one of the ones where I don't think anybody but Columbo would have put disparate things this much together. Because Columbo is, again, this is one of those episodes where it's like, God damn it. This is why Columbo is Columbo, because he is... I was watching this episode with my girlfriend, and the moment he picks up the lance, I go, he's got him. He's got him. Like, it's game over. That was the moment where it's like, it's over. He knows something is up the moment that piece of the lance is there, because it makes no sense. And this is one of those episodes where it's like, you know, he's got him from the moment he's there. And you're waiting, because this episode waits so long to tell you why, because the why is not clear until the literal final frames of the episode.
So this is one of the very few episodes where we actually have a script for this, which is quite a rarity. I don't know why scripts for Columbo are just so hard to find, but I think over the years I've maybe found like a dozen out there in the wild. And this one, just to glean a few things from the script, participating writers, Larry Cohen, which was nice to see that, and then Brad Radnitz, like I mentioned before. Former title, A Matter of Bravery. It is interesting that the whole thing with the car crash, like there's talk of the car, but I don't think the whole thing with the car crash is there, which is really the inciting incident for Columbo sticking around until he basically is being forced to stick around, which I kind of like. I like that the police chief is just, yeah, I've heard about you and I want you to come out and see this. It's almost like he knows that something is hinky, but it's more, oh, I like this guy. I want to hear more about this crime that he solved on the boat.
The boat crime was a big hit here in Mexico because, again, they were traveling to Mexico at the end of the cruise.
And that they do that tie-in. It's so rare that we get mentions of other episodes in an episode.
I agree. I like it. I just wish they hadn't done the same kind of dopey conceit that they did in that episode, where it's like Mrs. Columbo disappears. You don't have to mention her. Just say he was in Mexico. We get it. And I don't know how many more times it's going to show up, but Mrs. Columbo does exist. I'm going with she exists because there is a show named Mrs. Columbo with her as his wife, Kate Mulgrew.
It's built on a throne of lies.
I know. I get it. I have to believe that it's real only because of the context of the show and the other show existing. Other than that, I wouldn't believe that he has a wife because I don't believe he has any family, because it seems like he walks in at the behest of the writers in every episode of the show. He is a tool, he is a blunt little tool used by the writers to make chaos. That's the point. He is the vehicle of the writers. The detective in most of these, if not all of these stories, is the vehicle of the writers to untangle the knot that they've tangled the cords in intentionally. And Columbo is a very unique case because it's solved in reverse. It's solved from the point of view of him while we know what happened. And in this episode, he and Pedro Armendariz Jr. are so good together, you almost wish they had their own show.
Yeah.
But again, the initial inciting incidents, like, all right, there's no question in anyone's mind, even in the writer's mind, that he's on to Ricardo Montalbán. But that's why they withhold why he does it the entire episode. Because you, as the viewer, know the moment Columbo is brought in that there's nobody else he's going to think that did it other than Ricardo Montalbán. And to be fair, there's nobody else there. This is one where it's not so much solving it as a crime as proving that a crime happened and then solving said crime, which is what the whole angle of Pedro Armendáriz's character is. He doesn't want to go on the record saying that there is a crime because Ricardo Montalbán's character is such a bigwig in Mexican, I guess, pop culture, or I guess in just Mexican pop culture to begin with. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. How dare you try to take down this very famous man? There's another couple things that are part of the script that I find interesting. There's a housekeeper character, and I don't think, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think that they talk about this in the episode. She refuses to speak English to Columbo, even though she knows a little bit of English, and she just really hates Americans and especially hates anybody that's coming around and hassling her boss.
No.
The other thing I found interesting is...
because it's not very good. That's not a very necessary subplot.
No, it's not. And the other thing that is just a little different is the guy who gets sent out. I think he was in The Wild Bunch. It's been a while since I've seen it, but he gets sent out to the other side of the range, basically. I want to say it's Miguel, the Emilio Fernandez character. He gets sent over to the other side of the range in order to, like, oh, go check the whatevers.
The murder, you mean?
Yeah, during the murder. He is given a bottle of tequila by the Montalbán character, but in the script, he just finds this bottle of tequila, which you think maybe
it's not even in a bottle of tequila. It's a bottle of mezcal in the episode. So I think they even change what it is.
Is there a difference between that?
Yeah, mezcal is smoked.
Oh, okay.
Mezcal is very smoky in flavor. I believe mezcal is made from smoked agave even. Mezcal is very good, but it's very smoky. That's the thing with mezcal. They're very different, which is why I was very surprised that the guy drank a bottle of mezcal. That would be pretty intense. When it's like smoked paprika. When you put it in something, it makes itself known. You know what I mean? There's no way of hiding it. So when it was like, hey, I drink a bottle of mezcal, I was like, holy shit, man. That'd be pretty intense thing to drink a whole bottle. He drank a whole bottle of mezcal by himself.
Are tequila and mezcal related?
Yeah, they're similar. Just I believe mezcal is made from smoking the aloe vera plant.
I have to say that I'm very into Ricardo Montalbán's house, especially, and now this is a true confession, his bullfighting posters. I love bullfighting posters. Even though I don't like bullfights, if you were to walk into my house right now and go to our spare bedroom, it is all decorated in bullfighting posters because I just love the look of that art style so much.
I like that Ricardo Montalbán seemingly just fits into that world perfectly the way he looks on his own. I like the setting of this episode a fair amount. I like that they set it in Mexico again for Columbo to just be in Mexico and then for him to interact with a cop who happens to know who he is.
I'm wondering if it's like Tijuana or something, so he can get to it a little bit easier,
But he's in LA. They're not in San Diego. That's a bit of a hump still.
Yeah.
Look, it doesn't bother me that much. It's just, again, like, I'm assuming that, will Columbo go other places in these later seasons, the kind of TV movie seasons?
I'm trying to think if he does.
Because he went overseas already.
Yeah. This gimmick of him going places. I mean, we saw the British one, obviously. We saw the boat one. We saw this one here in Mexico. I'm really trying to think if we see him out of water too much more. There's nothing that really jumps to my mind. I would not be surprised if some of those ABC years, if he does do some traveling in there, but really, at first blush, as I roll through the Rolodex in my head, I don't think he does. It almost feels like a little stunt.
A little bit of a bottle episode. It's a little bit of a gimmick, it feels like.
If this was Sweeps Week, it would make sense. But at the same time, I think they probably would have gone for a 2-hour episode or an hour and a half plus some commercials in there.
Yeah, it's very funny that we're doing another recording after this one, and that episode of that show is also on a very special episode where the characters go overseas.
Right.
And it feels like the plot of the episode is almost at sorts with itself because it's like, we need you to see all this stuff. But what about the show? That's why I said, like, Columbo feels a little underwritten in this episode because Columbo, it's almost less about Columbo and more about Columbo and Pedro Almendarez Jr., which is fine. But this is a very atypical Columbo episode in almost every single way. Other than, again, the villain being a very well-written, performed performance. Like this, in a lot of ways, like we haven't had Columbo paired up with somebody an entire episode. We haven't had Columbo not knowing the motive up until the last moment, including us as the audience not knowing the motive. Because that's another thing. The audience doesn't know the motive either, which is a meta thing. Like they made that choice intentionally for us to not know.
Yeah, which I admire because so much of the time it's almost always money.
It's never that interesting anyway.
And it is interesting though with this, there's money involved insofar as Montalbán's character is very wealthy. He lives on this big hacienda. He's got all these people that serve him. He's got that boss car. Both of his cars are freaking awesome, man. Just, they look great. And he's got that real piece of meat out there rubbing those cars down. Holy cow. Give me the vapors here with these guys.
Right? Hands together seductively.
Not that Martinez is any slouch either, but he's barely in the episode.
I know, he really is. He factors into the finale again in an off-screen kind of way where it's, I need you to trust me.
Right.
And it's like, all right. And again, we as the audience are not in on what's going to happen either. Once again.
And another little, not necessarily bone of contention, but just an interesting thing to think about too is there's very few women in this episode. There's the wife of the inspector, and then there's the daughter of Montalbán. And I did mention that housekeeper, but I really don't seem to remember her being in this episode very much, if at all. So it's so much the story of these men. But then when the daughter comes in, I'm like, oh, here's the complication. But she's not very complicated. I was really thinking that this was almost going to be like almost a Romeo and Juliet thing, as far as Montalbán maybe being like, hey, I am super wealthy here. I've got this great place and people respect me. And you want to go out with the son of this guy who's been driving my car for the last 40 years, the guy who I just fucking ganked. Like, I was expecting there to be more resistance. And it does really feel like he's setting up A. Martinez to be moved out of the picture. He talks about, oh yeah, he's going to go to medical school. Get him out of here, basically. It feels like maybe he's trying to cock block him that way, but never really got the sense of a distaste for A. Martinez.
Yeah, I was expecting there to be some sort of complication with his daughter as well, or him to be like, I couldn't protect his son in the ring. He couldn't protect his son in the ring. So I need to figure out a way to make it so that his son leaves. Mm-hmm. And the easiest way to have his son leave is to kill his dad. Like, I couldn't see how they got to the point that they got to. So it was weird that they introduced that character of the daughter because, again, it ends up not factoring into anything. That ends up having nothing to do with anything. It ends up being a red herring, a complete red herring. Almost everything that the episode introduces is a red herring, frankly, other than I guess the pick is technically not a red herring, but the reason is so well guarded and unknown because it's a character flaw of the main character that we literally have to have Columbo spell it out for us to understand what happened. Literally. Because otherwise, right at the end of the episode, even my girlfriend and I were like, what just happened? Why did that happen? It's not imminently clear. He freezes, but what does that freezing mean?
I almost wish that they had started this episode like 5 minutes earlier. As A. Martinez is remembering things, I almost wish he had remembered what happened with Ricardo Montalbán, because I almost want there to be that threat of Martinez as well. He could remember that I froze in the ring.
Right.
I feel bad pulling it apart a little bit because I like this one. I genuinely like this episode, but it's mostly because of Columbo and the inspector and their relationship. and then Montalbán and his conflict with Columbo, and just seeing Columbo as this fish out of water, which we've seen before. Columbo's almost always a fish out of water, right? Because he walks into these places and he's always the sloppiest guy there. He's the guy who doesn't fit in. We just saw him at that party a few months ago at the embassy and rented the tuxedo, got the $16 shoes and all this. And I'm sure if I was more of an expert in 1970s fashion, I would be like, oh man, is his outfit out of date and he just looks terrible. From a 2025 perspective, yeah, dude looks okay. Yeah, I thought he cleaned up pretty nice.
He does look out of sorts when he's in Mexico, but that's also because everything in Mexico looked really warm, and I don't understand why he's wearing that goddamn jacket when it feels like it's so warm out.
Yeah, I'd probably be sweating my ass off.
Warm and humid, yeah. I was like, man, is this supposed to be summertime? I don't know when this is supposed to be set, unless it's just being set whenever the episode aired. It's like, what do you got that jacket on, Columbo? That seems a little hot. I guess it's supposed to be February, so February in Mexico, and maybe it's a little chilly. I guess so.
Oh, chilly. Can you imagine the kind of chili he'd be getting down there?
Yeah.
Oh,
no, because we never see that anymore. We never see Columbo in chili.
We barely see him eat.
I was going to say, we don't even see him eat that meal with Pedro Armendáriz and his wife. I do like the ADR line of, oh, this is where my wife is. I just put her on a bus and sent her out of town. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, ADR. You fucking Peter Falk recording that line in a studio in Burbank somewhere. Great.
I did like that little thing about the wife serving him burritos and them being such a common thing, but he's just, oh, these burritos, oh, they're delicious.
Yeah, I've never had something like this before. Treat.
So much of this episode takes place outdoors in broad daylight. Yeah.
I like that a lot.
And it's not tinted yellow like we see most American movies these days. Like, I just walked into Mexico and then the color just turns all weird.
Yeah, you're talking James Bond and Sicario.
I want to say even Soderbergh with like Traffic, or even The Counselor
film.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
I almost said Ridley Scott film, but you want with
it is actor. A Ridley Scott film. Probably deserves to be remembered more as a Ridley Scott film than anything else.
Yeah, you don't get to see Brad Pitt get self-garroted every single day, so
no,
that was a pretty cool moment.
I like the country of Mexico, and I like that they said it here in this episode because, again, like that is something that feels reasonable within the realm of living in California as well. So that's the other thing. This is, again, supposed to be Tijuana.
Tijuana. Very nice.
Tijuana. You're welcome.
Yes. I like the pronunciation. I took 3 years
of Spanish in high school. Oh. I grew up in Texas.
Oh.
Somebody somewhere is like, good for you, pal.
Con mucho gusto. I always forget how much Spanish I know until I go to Mexico. And then it's, oh, fuck. Yeah, I remember how you say all these words. Okay, this is good. Thank you, Mrs. Loader.
Kurt Loader?
Professora Loader. Yeah.
Loader is probably a better way. I'm actually disappointed that Columbo doesn't go back to Mexico because it seems like, again, we've established that this is a one-off thing. Because Pedro Armendáriz and him are so good together.
Yeah, I would like him back. I mean, Columbo doesn't have a Watson, and Armendáriz is almost as Watson in this episode.
He really is.
He's impressed with Columbo when he gives him a wide berth. I'm just glad that he's not over here being like, no, Lieutenant, we cannot do this. Because at the end of the episode, before Columbo makes his big aha moment, it's okay. I set him up for you. You can get him eventually, but you're going to have to keep looking for stuff, and hands the case over to the inspector. And then it's boom. He sees those kids, sees the inspector's kids themselves playing bullfighting. And that's when the light bulb goes off when he sees the water in the Cape. And that's such a nice thing too, when it's that, he looked at that Cape earlier and just like really got into it, really inspected it, and wasn't looking for anything in particular, but then it's the absence of the thing that tips him off.
It's the absence of the water on the Cape, because if you put water on the Cape when it's windy, it stops it from moving so much is what it is.
Yeah, because you're out there with a big old wet rag hanging around your arm.
Yeah, but it's made leather. Again, like it didn't seem like it was made out of normal cloth is the thing that I was trying to figure out, because I kept looking at it. I was like, that doesn't even seem like cloth.
Yeah.
So it is a red cloth. So
it is officially, it's a muleta, a stick with the red cloth hanging from it. It obscures the sword.
That sword is pretty gnarly looking, by the way. And when Ricardo Montalbán is bending it on the wall, that's pretty gnarly shit. When he was doing that, I was like, oh man, like this is, again, I mentioned it at the top of the episode, like the idea of going to watch a man kill a bull is pretty barbaric in my opinion. Again, maybe I don't know anything. Maybe I'm just a stupid foreigner, but I find that form of entertainment to be a bit much, but I understand it culturally. But it's a bit much to watch a human being stab a bull to death.
Oh, yeah.
And then when you see what it is that they're stabbing him with, it's like this giant sword. It's pretty gnarly. Hey, the ball's on the people doing it, though. And that's the other thing. You got to stand down the bull and watch it charge you. That is the thing. They definitely almost don't make enough of a point in this episode to hammer home that it's really fucking dangerous. We see the bull running around, but I think because they never committed to showing us real bull fighting footage, it's clearly not stock footage, but like we're shooting the bull just running around on its own with nobody in there for the most part. We never really get the sense of how dangerous the bull actually is.
Yeah, there's no sense of scale.
No, not at all.
Bulls are fucking a couple tons, you know?
Yeah, they're huge. They'll kill you in 2 seconds. When Columbo goes, no, the bull is the murder weapon. It's like, yeah, no shit. Like, that makes perfect sense.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, I think that would have been really good if they could have hired some stuntmen and actually done a little bit more when it comes to showing a human interacting with the, or even I'll show some documentary footage or something. Like Columbo goes to the cinema and watches a little documentary about bullfighting or something. Maybe even his inspector friend takes him someplace. Or with books is always a great thing too. I would love for him to be like, I read the thing about this, and is it true that the bull can kill a man in a matter of 15 seconds? They talk about the femoral artery and how dangerous that is if somebody gets gored there because they'll bleed out within a matter of seconds. But yeah, really make it a little more dangerous as far as that this is the murder weapon. We all understand what a gun can do or a knife, but not too many Americans are going to know what a bull can do to a man.
Especially in 1976.
Oh, yeah. And Columbo has that reaction to the corpse where he's just like, oh, boy. But yeah, I wanted a little bit more. I'm, of course, not going to get out of the back of that ambulance and start throwing up or anything, but I almost wanted him, because can't handle watching surgery. I would think that seeing a man gored would really affect him.
Oh, I would assume it would be pretty gnarly, right?
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, again, it's almost like the episode can't go there because it literally can't. Like,
yeah,
which is fine. Again, when you're going to have a guy getting gored by a bull and you don't really make the stakes of the bull that large, it's fine. I think the cat feels like a little bit of a missed opportunity in my mind.
Yeah, they could have gone farther on a lot of fronts. And yeah, it's weird. Like after watching last month's episode with that whole thing, and it just felt a little and boring and you wish it to end, but then you watch this one and you're just like, I would gladly take another half an hour of this.
Take 10 minutes from the last episode and give them to this episode.
Yeah.
Split the difference. Because, yeah, this episode, again, the setting is so interesting. The world that they're in is so unique and we're clearly never going to come back to it. I'm not saying we're never going to come back to the world of the CIA, and we very well might, but felt like the world of the Matadors is a little bit more interesting than the world of the CIA. Oh, right. Man, they really thought that whole episode was really something special. Good Lord. Again, maybe it's the Patrick McGowan of it all, just being like, I want 90 minutes to myself. Like, all right.
Well, at least Columbo acts like himself in this one.
Yeah, even if he is a little underwritten and not there as much. Like, he feels, I'm not saying he's going through the motions, but this is a pretty stock and trade Columbo performance, I would say.
100%.
Almost to a T.
Yeah, good to have the shabby detective back, but yeah, I just wanted more of him. And this is literally a foreign place. And yes, it's Mexico, so it's not like it's a million miles away, but I would have liked even more cultural differences or more, isn't this interesting? Or more of, he's in a foreign land and he's dealing with a foreign sport, ritual, custom, whatever you want to call it. yeah, give me more. Give me like, okay, yeah, here's the lances, here's the picks. Okay, this is good. I want to learn more about this thing. I want to learn more about the muleta. I want to learn about the swords. Give me more of that kind of stuff. So this is a good episode that really could have been a great episode, I think.
Yeah, and I totally agree. It's weird that we don't have like a weird Columbo-ism in this episode, like a moment where he just fucks off to go do something and his interactions are just weird with people. Like, where is that?
Yeah.
I am surprised we don't get that, because that in this episode almost feels like a foregone conclusion. For fuck's sake. Like you said, he's in Mexico. Why are we not having, like, we get him, burritos. We have him interacting that minimal amount. That's not enough. Give us more than that, especially if we're never going to come back here.
Well, and like I said at the beginning, it's so strange that the script of this didn't have the car crash, because that's like when he actually gets to interact with other people.
Yeah, the minorest amount.
Yeah, and that's always like what you're afraid of when you go to a foreign country, is like somebody trying to take advantage of you. And just you get those reactions from him where he's just amused by like the guy who's just, oh, my neck. But it's like,
right.
I wanted almost a little bit more of that of, oh, by the way, we paid off this guy, or something like just a little throwaway line as far as, yeah, this guy's causing trouble, and still saying that you damaged his car. I would love there to be a scene of him going and looking at the car and the mechanic being like, oh, there's nothing I can do for it. And Columbo just being like, what are you talking about? It's in perfect condition. Something like that.
Yeah, and there was none of that. It's weird. There was a lot of the stuff happened off screen, it feels like. If not almost. Most of the things that we have had happen before in this show that happened on screen happened off screen. Almost all of those Columbo-isms, we didn't get to see them. To your point, we know they had to happen. We know he had to go and get his car and all this stuff, but we don't see it, which is, it's odd. For this episode, this feels like a layup, and it feels like they just, I don't know, maybe they just weren't as interested in doing some of those things with this episode as they normally have been, but in my mind, I don't understand what the point of taking him and putting him in Mexico is if they're not going to do at least one or two scenes of him being a fish out of water, because Peter Falk had a great face.
Oh, yeah.
Right, with the reaction shots of him, and his character of Columbo has so many idiosyncrasies that, like, you would want to see him interacting with people in Mexico. So it feels like a pretty large missed opportunity, in my mind anyways.
Oh, 100%. Where's the scene where he eats a jalapeno or something?
Yeah, it's just a little bit of a missed opportunity. That's all.
Yeah. Well, hopefully you enjoy next month's episode when we come back and talk all about Now You See Him, which if there was a sequel, it'd probably be Now You Don't, as opposed to those movies, which has our boy Jack Cassidy coming back as the great Santini, and that's not the awful father figure that is being played by Robert Duvall from the Great Santini movie. This is a magician. He doesn't throw a basketball in anybody's face and go, come on, want to see you going to squirt some? Come on. Have you ever seen that movie, Chris?
I have not.
Oh, that's my father and my relationship right there. So yeah, definitely check it out.
Those basketballs in your face?
Oh yeah. What you going to do? You going to cry?
Gonna cry, little baby?
Oh my God. That movie's fucking intense, man.
Never seen it.
Oh boy. Yeah, but no, this is not as intense, but I had a lot of fun with Now You See Him. I hope you enjoy it as well. So until then, what are you working on these days, Chris?
Everything that I'm working on can be found over at weirdingwaymedia.com, where this show and all the other shows that we work on can be found, other than Rankin' on Bond, which can be found on yours and my respective Patreons, patreon.com/culturecast and patreon.com/projection booth. What about you, Mike?
Same damn thing all the way down the line. I want to thank John Walker for our opening theme, and I want to thank Colin Gallagher for our closing theme. And I want to thank everybody out there in Radio Land for listening. Thank you so much. If you enjoy listening to these episodes, please, why not rate and review the show wherever you get it? That would really help us out. Ole.
Hello, filthy movie lovers. My name is Gentry Austin.
And I'm Casey Scott.
And we're the hosts of the Sin Syndicate, film podcast for something weirdos, anti-criterion bros, and Joseph Sarno aficionados. Join us semi-weekly as we peer into the adults-only theaters and sticky-floored cinemas of the golden age of sexploitation, when the morals were loose, the laws were murky, and the intercourse was all simulated. Find us now on the Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network.